So we're at the X-Goat Run, and well, I did a little permaculture tour, or actually I should say a big one the other day, which is like 2-3 hours long. The lady, Susan, talked about banana circles. I don't think she used that herself, but I had questions, and she said look up banana circles. It could be, if you want to raise up your soil and kind of you take the soil in a circle here, 6 foot or whatever circle, and you use that soil around the circle. So you build up a mound around it, and then you fill that circle, sometimes with cardboard bottoms, to try to, I guess, eliminate, some of the weeds as a weed barrier. Then like larger, like tree trunks and tree pieces, then smaller sticks, then leaves, and maybe manure or green manure, or potting soil or something on top. In a month or a few months, it'll drop down at that area, and then you do it all over again until it's, I guess, like kind of stops dropping down, and you can plant taro and stuff, because there's going to be a depression there either way. So it creates an underground compost that feeds your banana plants, like I said, and then you got your perimeter with a raised area. So if it's a little too low, and wet, then that'll bring your banana plants up 6 inches or a foot or 2 foot or whatever. That sounds like a really good option. I wonder if you could use that kind of practice for like avocado trees. I mean, you're not going to do like a circle of avocados because they're so big, so you'd put like a single avocado and maybe smaller plants, and ground covers and stuff like that there. But if people wonder if I have enough plant material, there's a tree that was probably about 60-70 foot. There's another tree going that way that fell. Yeah, all this plant material here. Then I have a couple trees and stuff like that here, and over there there's like a fallen tree. Hard to see, but right there is also a little tree that fell. Could have been a tallow or something. I don't know. This tree fell 3 or 4 months ago. I mean, look how big. This is my hand here. It's a big red maple, and it's probably 35 foot, maybe 40 foot, and we cut the tip off already because it was like it fell over our driveway. It's heavy, hard to move, but right there would make 2 hugelkultur beds probably. Have a big pile of scraps over here, and way over there there's a bunch of it's probably not focusing very well because it's dark outside. A bunch of cherry laurels and stuff. I have all these elderberries and a lot of cherry laurels that I need to cut down here. That these elderberries in this specific area just aren't productive. So green manure, or whatever you want to call it, chop and drop to add nutrients. And this is my goldenrod growing area, so I really need to clean out the cherry laurel. Got more red maples that have fallen, goats killed or they got diseased. I've got sycamore chunks that are really heavy there. There's another tree. You can kind of see where all these trees have fallen over time. And probably a 25-foot limb right there from a maple. And piles here, 500 plus elderberries that would be good for chop and drop. Got like a 30-foot plus pine tree limb that is, just dangling down there. Part of a tree there that fell. It's kind of already composted in this area down pretty good. There's some little trees or limbs from pine trees and stuff here. So there's like 15-foot plus pieces. More. We're getting in dark areas, so you might be able to see. Like here's some. Here's a bunch of limbs and stuff that have fallen from pine trees. This woodsy area, I've got like sweet gums, you know, a bunch of them that have fallen. And we've got like where we cut down, or actually a maple tree fell a long time ago at that fence line. And I don't know how good you're going to be able to see this, but it was like from way over there. It's probably 60, 70 foot, and we chopped up and haven't really did anything with the pieces. So I've got thousands and thousands of pounds of plant material, plus all the leaves that can be raked up and, you know, used. This area here, we've extracted, you know, compost from here. This is where we used to pile up all of our limbs, you know, 8-10 foot high, you know, and it just laid across the sweet gums here, and it would compost down for years. But there's still more stuff, and this is a composting area, and it's went down a lot. So we probably have to take that apart, and we could, you know, take the top rough part out and maybe do a rototiller to loosen the bottom, you know, compost out. And then there are some pretty good rotten trees over here that have been cut already. And there's some pieces here and there too from that same, I think that was a red maple. Probably getting about to be too dark to see. Here's one of the red maple pieces here. Yeah, and I also have like 200-300 pounds plus of hay, you know, that I can go extract in other areas. And you know, some of it has already started breaking down because I put it out near the road and for like a year and a half, and it was a pain to drag out there, and it's like half composted already. So I got a lot of material, and that doesn't even account all the pruning of, you know, trees and all kinds of stuff that I can get, you know, and the chop and drop of, you know, ground cover, like all this mint. So, you know, according to like hugelkultur, this is probably like a paradise of organic wood material to start this kind of a permaculture garden, despite it being shady and despite it being wet. But then again, using that banana circle method of raising the ground up and then feeding the roots with this composted material, it would like help, or should help with, you know, plants that get wet feet, as long as they can tolerate whatever sun, shade, part sun, you know, dappled light, whatever it is. You know, are the plants going to be happy there? You know, is the soil acidic, or, you know, this is acidic soil. Do I have to add lime to, you know, neutralize it a little bit? But so it got dark fast in this 10 or 15 minutes of shooting video. This time of year, it just goes from just, okay, it looks like it's fixing to get dark at sundown, to 15 minutes later, it's pretty black out there. And I'm under a light right in a second, but look that way, you know, pretty dark. Another thing I'm thinking about is, you know, there are a lot of things that people call weeds or invasive. They can be non-native or native. And initially, you know, I was like, you know, why do people hate Florida betony so much, you know, being that it's a native plant? But I also have to look back and say, you know, I'm questioning whether to keep, there are all kinds of noises around here, so, you know, it sounds like somebody was doing a lawnmower or something a few blocks away, and their lawnmower just stopped running. Anyway, I hate cherry laurels. They're with a passion. Their roots, they just root sucker everywhere, it's almost impossible to get rid of them and the roots. But I'll just use them for chop and drop or mulch. It's probably not the best for chop and drop because it's hard woody material mostly, but you can use it as mulch. And I question whether or not to even keep like stinging nettles, which some people say that's the most awesome thing in the world. Teas and, greens and all that good stuff. So a lot of things, I really don't think going in there in the wetlands area and clearing out everything is what I want or plan to do. I think with the wider scope of things, with the potential of livestock food and pollinators and different, chop and drop, maybe nitrogen fixing and everything, I'll just introduce things that I would like to grow there and try to manage the soil level and stuff for things that may not like quite wet as feet, wet of feet, and maybe try to manage, neutralize some of the acidic soil, if I've got a little patch of something that likes it more neutral or alkaline. But, like, I don't plan to go try to wipe out the Bidens or the mint. Mint has a place in deterring wildlife, and certain other things deter insects and all that good stuff. So, I guess, yeah, you got to try to be at one with the environment and what it provides already. Because there are the other people out there that said, embrace what you got, because a lot of people cannot grow what you have growing right there. You have the perfect spot for X, Y, and Z, and we've tried to grow this or whatever, and it just won't grow. So that's a good way to look at it, because I'm not just saying, I'm not one of these apocalyptic people, looking at end times and saying, oh, we've got to, when this happens or that happens, we got to be able to feed our family on this little lot of land, forever, and that's all we're going to eat. I don't see that happening, as far as being able to live solely on this land. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you have seasons where it's, fruits and vegetables, provide food. You have diseases, you have wildlife, and you have an environment that is not cold enough for certain things and is too cold for other things. So allowing the area to provide what it already has, plus introducing the things that we have an idea to experiment with, or we know that works, that or could potentially work here. That's going to be our goals, and I'm not sure what kind of nitrogen fixing things we can put in there besides like peas and soybeans and stuff like that. But we just have to do more research, because I don't know, this is new to me, other than like chop and drop and stuff like that.